Okay, hey guys, and welcome to this video on greenhouse gases and the greenhouse effect. Very topical at the moment, of course. And in this video, you are going to be able to recall the names of various greenhouse gases. You're going to understand what a greenhouse gas does and why they're actually important for our environment. But you're also going to understand the mechanism behind the greenhouse effect and understand how this could be leading to climate change, which of course could be considered a negative rather than a positive. Cool, so let's dive straight in now. Alrighty, so first of all, greenhouse gases, they cause the temperature of the Earth to increase, right? They're gases which cause the temperature of the Earth to increase. Now, carbon dioxide, methane, and water vapor are all greenhouse gases and they are all found in the air. However, the level of water vapor has not been linked to human behavior, right? It's basically the water vapor in the environment, we're not really changing that so much. However, the level of carbon dioxide in the environment has been linked to human activity, of course, right? Burning fossil fuels releases carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, okay? Combustion, CO2 is produced as a result, and that increases the overall amount of CO2. Right, plants take in carbon dioxide for photosynthesis, right? That's important because if we're releasing a load of CO2, plants take it in and it's kind of a balancing act. However, human beings continue to carry out deforestation, right? Destroying plants and habitats. This stops that carbon dioxide being absorbed, which increases the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere again, right? And I called it the atmosphere, which is nonsense. And also, right, even more surprise face, methane levels are also increasing. And that's a greenhouse gas as well. Cows' digestive systems produce methane, right? And as the levels of cattle farming increase, which it is because of us, of course, so does the amount of methane produced, right? So the more we produce steaks and burgers and stuff like that, right, we're actually increasing cattle farming and that is increasing the amount of methane in the air. Also, what else are we doing? Because we seem to be doing all this good stuff. We are also increasing the amount of waste thrown in landfill. Bacteria decompose some of this waste, producing methane as a result, and that leads to more methane in the air, right? So we're doing all this stuff, which is increasing the amount of greenhouse gas in the air, which is contributing, and we don't know how much, to climate change and global warming. But I hear you ask, how do greenhouse gases work? Like, you tell us that it acts like a greenhouse and heats the environment, but how? Well, we're about to have a look. The greenhouse effect. So, sunlight contains radiation in the IR, visible, and UV, right? That's infrared, visible, and ultraviolet portion of the spectrum. That's what sunlight contains. Now, just a quick side note, anything which has a temperature, which by the way is everything, releases infrared radiation. However, the temperature affects how much is released. So something that's cold doesn't release as much infrared as something that's hot. The sun is extremely hot, and so it releases a bunch of infrared, right? Infrared coming from the sun is high frequency, right? High frequency means high energy and low wavelength, right? And that can pass through the atmosphere. So the high frequency / low wavelength can pass through the atmosphere, right? The Earth, which is a giant object as well, is cooler than the sun, of course, and emits its own low frequency infrared radiation, right? So the Earth is actually emitting its own radiation. Okay, so it's low frequency and therefore higher wavelength, right? And you can see it kind of from this diagram here. And I'll continue. Greenhouse gases, what they do is they absorb this IR, right? So they absorb the infrared radiation, which is higher wavelength, but they don't absorb the lower wavelength, right? Or high frequency, okay? And then they redirect some of it back at the Earth. So here comes my addition to the drawing. So what's happening is the Earth is emitting some infrared, right? And that infrared is low frequency or high wavelength. But some of that actually gets absorbed by greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. And what they do is they then shoot it back, right? They shoot it back. And infrared equals heat, basically, right? That's an oversimplification, but if you absorb infrared radiation, you heat up, right? That's the way that we feel heat from a radiator and so on and so on. Well, I mean, kind of. There are other ways as well: convection, conduction, and radiation. This is one of the three ways in which you feel heat, okay? But the more greenhouse gases there are in the atmosphere, right? So let's say that I said there were more greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. the more that you're going to be re-emitting a load of that stuff back at the Earth, right? That's basically what's happening. So as more and more greenhouse gases are trapped in the atmosphere, we're going to be trapping a load more heat, and therefore that is contributing to climate change and global warming, right? Now that's all I want you to understand from this video. We're going to have a look at climate change and global warming in a separate video, so I hope that has made sense. That is what greenhouse gases are doing. Methane and carbon dioxide are an example of a greenhouse, or examples of greenhouse gases to which human beings are having a direct effect. Water vapor is a greenhouse gas, but we're not really affecting that in the atmosphere. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. I hope that made a lot of sense. If you've got any questions, comment them in the box below, please. But as usual, please do like and subscribe, because that does really help me out. And I look forward to seeing you all in the next video.